I'm live, just waiting for people to jump on. While I'm waiting for a few people to jump on before I start, just thought I'll tell you what I'll be doing today. It's Saturday today, of course you know that, but it's Saturday morning in Melbourne. And the weather is a little bit cold right now. So look at the, the sun isn't out today, it's hiding behind the cloud. It's a bit cold, but the good thing is it's not raining. So I thought I'll come outside, I'll just come outside and hopefully spend a little bit of time outside, breathe some fresh air. I spend a lot of the time during the week inside, working inside. So I want to spend more time outside. So today we will be cooking on our rocket stove. Rocket stove. So this is my rocket stove. Sorry?
Not an official rocket stove though.
It is. It is called rocket stove. It is a way, well, David doesn't think this is a rocket stove, but I think it is. But it doesn't matter. We don't have to agree. This is my rocket stove that I built with my son about a year ago or more. It's made out of bricks. It is so simple to make. You don't need any equipment. You just need 24 bricks. That's all you need, and you can just stack them up. And here you go. Once you finish stacking them up in a certain way, I will teach you how. Probably do a video later today. But right now I need to get cooking because it's almost lunchtime. So this is my rocket stove. Hi, I see somebody jumping on. Feel free to leave a comment. Ask me any questions you have. I'm gonna show you how to cook on the rocket stove. So we built this rocket stove with my son by stacking up the bricks. No other equipment, just bricks. And here we have an outdoor stove, an instant stove. Hi Audrey. So what we'll be cooking today is just, I have a thermal cooker here, but I won't be using a thermal cooker because it takes a long time to cook in there. You'll need probably 4 hours to cook in there, but I'll be using the pot inside to cook. You own my rocket stove. While I'm getting the thing out, you know what? I will show you what we're preparing to prepare the rocket stove. As you can see here, it's a little bit, this thing needs to come down a little bit. So this is my stove. What we'll do is we'll be using sticks to cook on here. It doesn't have to be big sticks, just little ones would do. Okay, now it's standing up right. So we've just got some stuff to start the fire from the garden. We just picked them from our pine tree. So what I might do is, because this rocket stove is a bit crooked, I'm just going to fix up the bricks a little bit. I think it moved a little bit with time. Okay. So as you can see, this is a stove we put together just by stacking up the bricks, and it is a really fun project I had with my son. Built it some time ago, and it's sat here for the last year, and we've been cooking on it quite a few times. And today we've decided to come outside and cook because it's just so much more fun cooking outside than cooking inside. So David's just cleaning up the ashes, so we're going to show you how we start the fire and get the cooking going. Alright, let's just wait for that. David, do you want to do the starting the fire?
Sure. It's been a little bit damp, so it might take a bit more work than normal to get it
It's
going.
a shame because I can't turn the camera to face backward, so I don't think it's possible. Can I turn the camera? Oh, I can. Can I turn? Oh, yes, I can. There you go.
Alright.
So
From
much
our
better.
pine tree here, we actually have all the needles. These things will burn even green, which is awesome. So I normally just stick the stack in here and get it going. You don't normally burn a rocket stove vertical. Now, this isn't an official rocket stove. Me and Karen were talking about this earlier, because an actual rocket stove burns everything so much there's not even smoke. So this is a stove more than anything else.
It's a little bit cold. You need to wear a bit
friend
more.
of ours and lives up North Castlemaine Way. She corrected me on this because we were calling it a rocket stove up to then. So to give it a good start, you need to make sure everything is dry. We have a couple of dead trees around, or trees with dead branches, and they're actually a great source if you want dry wood because they don't sit in the ground, they don't get wet. So as you can see, if Karen points down, I broke off a number of branches earlier just for this purpose.
Oliver, you can't pull this one, thank you. Why is it cold? Oliver, it's a bit cold. Why can't you only wear one shirt? Go get Papa to wear another one. Ask Papa to give you a putagang. Come on, go. Now, Mommy taking video here. Yeah, go. Go. Oh dear, Mommy coming inside.
Family life, guys. Now that will do just to get it started.
For those who's just jumped on, I just want to show you that we are starting the fire on our rocket stove, and well, something that we've built with just 24 bricks. If you have some loose bricks lying around, you want to recycle them, you can just build yourself a stove outside, and you don't need any equipment to build them. Just need to stack them up, and I will show you how to do that in my next video. Right now we just need to get the cooking going because it's almost noon, and we're hungry now. So this is me talking in case you can't see me.
It's okay.
So David just started the fire. Let me shut the door so the smoke doesn't get into the house. My son's... Oh, I just locked myself in. Oops.
I could fix that.
You have keys?
I always have keys.
Alright, we should put the pot on. I might just leave the camera here so I don't carry it around with me, if that's okay.
Now, the vertical sticks,
Oh, it doesn't stand.
they catch quickly, burn fast, give you some coals, but they burn out, and then everything is just fed. Put this hole in here. And what actually happens is just the end of the sticks burns, and you keep pushing them in. And that keeps the fire going. We were lucky today because it went up first time. We've had a few dry days.
The smoke is quite smoky right now because of this pine needles we're burning. We'll just let the smoke goes away and let it burn a bit cleaner. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Alright, if you'll be okay for a second, Karen, I'll go get the kettle.
Yeah. Is the fire going?
I should think it is there. Yeah.
And what we're cooking today, we're cooking, sorry, let me come back to you. Turn around. I don't want to move my camera too much, so coming over here and talk to you. So what we're cooking today, we're cooking Vietnamese noodle soup today, and with spices. So basically we're using bom broth. Actually we don't have bom broth right now, but we're just cooking some spices, boil them up. The spices will have coriander seed, star anise, clove bud, what else is in there? Peppercorns, cinnamon. So you mix them up. So what we do to make sure that the taste come out a bit more, we grind them up into powder, and then we put them in the water and we boil them. And we'll boil them for about 15-20 minutes because they're already in powder, so you don't have to boil them for too long. And then we're going to add our meat. Actually we have onion as well. So I'm going to turn the camera around again so you can see the stove burning very, very well right now. So as you can see, it doesn't take long for the fire for us to start the fire, and as you can see, there's not as much smoke now. It's burning much cleaner now. I'm just waiting for the hot water to come. My husband's just gonna David's just gonna get the hot water. Hang on, I'll be back. David? So I'm back. So we've got the fire happening here. It's burning really strongly, and just adding some boiling water. And David just told me we've got some bone broth in the fridge, which is great, because if you want your beef noodle soup to taste nice, I would really recommend you use some broth, whether it's bone broth or meat broth from beef. But we're going to add some onion. And this is our ground up spices. I'm happy to put in the comments if you're interested to have the recipe, what spices and the proportion you use, so that we ground up all our spices, and we're going to just add it to the boil. Is that the bone broth? Is that all we have?
No, we've got a bit more, but this
more?
is the super concentrated stuff. You won't need that much.
In this. So do you want to talk about this one, what you do?
Sure. We were lucky enough that we have a relationship with a farmer who does a slaughter sort of like 3 or 4 times a year, and we got a lot of bones just before the current crisis, which is great, and no freezer space for them. So I boiled them all up, boiled them down, and created this very, very, very rich, kind of think of it like a stock cube. So we're going to throw some of it in as soon as Karen lifts up the lid.
The fire is not as strong anymore. It is good. It's not gaps.
We'll pop this back in the fridge. Anything else from inside?
We need the meat.
When?
Now it's possible. Just bring it up, we chop it up here.
I'll cut it up inside, it'll be a lot easier.
Cut it up here? So with the rocket stove, if you can hear me, because we did it using little twigs, you do need to feed it quite frequently, and just to make sure it doesn't burn out. But if you use bigger sticks, of course, then you can leave it a bit longer. And because we have so many little sticks in the garden, we just want to get rid of them and burn them to ash. And when we burn them to ash, we'll sprinkle the ash around the garden on my veggie patch as a fertilizer, because the ash is full of minerals from the wood. So you don't throw your ash away if you have ash. Oops. Sorry, guys. Oops, how do I do that? The camera just fell down. So I was just saying, with rocket stove, you do need to feed it quite frequently to make sure the fire doesn't burn out. And once you finish burning, you can keep the ash and sprinkle them across the garden, because they are really good for the garden. The ash will be full of minerals. So if you feed your soil with mineral, the food you grow on it will be full of minerals. So that's why I don't throw the ash away. So I'm just going to turn the camera back around to show you how it's keep cooking. I really need a better selfie stick. It's not standing up properly because my garden is not a flat surface, so it's struggling a little bit. But the key thing is, with the rocket stove, you just need to make sure you keep feeding it and keep moving the stick. As it burns, you just keep moving it in, pushing it in, and keep feeding it with new timber. It's a lot of fun. So just little sticks, put it in there. Now it looks like the fire has gone down a little bit, so I'm just gonna bring it up, bring the fire up a little bit by putting smaller sticks. When you put smaller sticks, it burns faster, and the fire is usually bigger. So if you have loose sticks lying around in the garden, and you can use them up, cook yourself a meal. Build a stove. I'll show you how to build one later, maybe this afternoon. These ones we built some time ago and it's got a lot of gaps, so it's not the most efficient thing. Ideally, you want to make sure all the gaps are closed, but for now it works. Yeah, I just want to show you the fire. I'll bring the camera over. Just want to show you the fire. So it's a bit slower now. The fire is a bit slower. Hoping that it will go up again because I think I need to add a little bit more timber in there just to get it going. So if you have some loose tree barks, you can use them as well. They burn very, very well. And even you should be able to just pick them up from the garden. It's just a very sustainable way to get rid of your loose bits and pieces of twigs and branches. Yeah, so we have a green bin here. We probably will need to cancel it because we never use it. All our green garden waste goes onto our compost, and the twigs and the branches we'll burn them up, and then we use the ash for the garden, so it goes back into the garden. So we actually don't need a green recycle bin. So as you see, the fire is now, I put some smaller twigs in there, so the fire is a bit bigger now.
You want to do a mix of big and small timber in there.
Yeah. Push it in. Just push it in. So every now and then, just pushing the sticks as they burn. You need to help it. So just push it in, feed it through. See this one? Push it through. And we have some more here, which I'll leave it here so you can burn as well in a minute.
And like I said, they're literally dead branches off a tree, whereas you can pretty much always guarantee that they're going to be dry.
So David is chopping up the steak into, what do you call that, slices. The thinner the better, because we are making a Vietnamese noodle soup. If you like Vietnamese noodle, it's called pho. When you go to a Vietnamese restaurant, it's a very popular dish, and I love that dish. But obviously, if you eat out, it's not very healthy. They put MSG in there, so I decided to learn how to cook it myself. So all you need is some meat, of course, noodles, and for noodles we use sweet potato noodles because I'm on the paleo diet now. I've been on the GAPS diet, so I'm going to turn around for you to talk to me.
And just on the recycling note, I would actually say that this table I'm actually cutting on, we made ourselves out of an old pallet. This particular pallet happened to be used for masonry. Masonry pallets are some of the best ones to use because you know they've not been used for chemical waste. Typically speaking, you just have bricks or stone or something similar on it. And they're really, really good for making things with. So I actually used some of these pallets for making a cubby house for the kids with a slide, amongst other recycled timber. I made this tabletop out of it. I will make some legs for it eventually. And also we actually have a shed which I'm building over there, which is pretty much, apart from the screws, 100% recycled material.
We'll show them the cubby house later.
Yeah, we can show you the cubby house and the shed later. Let us know in the comments if you'd like to see them.
I'm not sure who's jumped on. Catherine, are you on the line? If you are, say hi. Drop me a comment. I can't see comments for some reason. Or maybe nobody has left me a comment, so that's okay. Here we have a magpie. Whoa. Magpie here trying to steal our meat. So go away, bird.
Here,
no, don't. Don't give it to him.
That bit fell on the table anyway, so we can't eat it.
No, he's going to come back to it. So you just need to watch the birds because they're very good at stealing food. We have had kookaburra stealing food off our hands in the past.
Not here.
Not here, but in the park. So I'll just turn the camera around. I want to talk to you about GAPS diet. So it's me here. So we are on the GAPS. We have been on the GAPS diet for almost 2 years now. The GAPS diet is basically a healing diet, a very, very healthy healing diet. And it doesn't, we don't eat any kind of grains, we don't eat any gluten, we don't eat any standard dairy, we only eat fermented dairy. So that's the key about the GAPS diet. So basically eating just really nutrient dense food and cooked in a certain way. Basically, when we started the GAPS diet, we normally boil the food for like about 2 hours, just to make sure you get the most out of the nutrients in the food. So you boil them. When you boil your food, especially meat, you break it down, and it makes the protein. It breaks down the protein, and it makes it much easier for you to absorb the nutrients, especially when the nutrients goes into the broth. Sorry, I'm just feeding the timber in while I'm talking to you.
It's boiling now, Karen, I think.
It is boiling, isn't it? So it's boiling now. Well, it has been boiling for a while actually. Yeah. So we're just letting it boil for a while because there is spices in there and there is onion. We're just getting the taste out. And given that we have bone broth, which is good, that means we don't have to boil it for too long. So if you have already ready-made bone broth, you can make this dish in like 5-10 minutes. So you just grind up the spices, and I'll leave in the comments later what spices you need so you can make them yourself because they are really delicious. Just grind up the spices, boil them for about 5-10 minutes just to get the taste to come out. You can boil them longer if you want, if you already have homemade broth. If you don't, then obviously you want to boil your broth a bit longer to get the taste out from the for your soup. And so with this we just have the spices, basically coriander seeds, clove bud, cinnamon, black peppercorns. What else have we got? I think that's the key.
You say coriander and cloves?
Yeah, coriander, clove, black peppercorn. Yeah. So I'll put out in the comments the proportion you need. We grind them up, and we have onion in the broth as well, cooking, just to get it yummy and sweet. And we are slicing up the meat. We use steak because that means when we slice them up, when we cook them, just really quickly, we're just gonna like put them in and take them out straight away because we don't want them to cook for too long with that one. So it will stay nice and tender. If you've eaten Vietnamese noodle soup before, you know the meat doesn't really get cooked for a long time. They basically just pour boiling water over it. So just make sure that the meat is really, really tender and doesn't get overcooked. So that's what we're gonna do today. And we are gonna eat this with sweet potato noodle. And the reason why we do sweet potato noodle is because I don't consume any kind of refined carb. So rice noodles is very, very refined, and I don't take rice because it's a grain. And even though GAPS diet, sweet potato isn't part of GAPS diet, but I'm coming off GAPS diet now. I'm moving towards paleo diet, and with paleo diet, sweet potatoes is okay. So we'll be eating sweet potato noodle together with this dish. What I'm missing though, unfortunately, is some lemon. Do we have any lemon? Oh, we do. So good. You must have a lemon with this dish, otherwise it doesn't taste nice. So, all right, I am gonna go back to my stove and I'll show you how it's doing right now. Hopefully we can eat very soon.
Now, something I would like to actually add to what Karen said about GAPS is one of the concerns that people have about GAPS diet is it's a very restricted diet in terms of what you can and what you cannot eat. We have leaned heavily on available recipes online as well as our own experimentation, because we were on GAPS for well over a year.
No, 2 years now.
Wow. Yes, full GAPS though.
2 years.
Yeah, for well over a year, approaching 2 years, I'm corrected. So there's a lot of advice we can give to anybody who's actually interested in this, just in terms of what you can actually cook and what substitutes are actually available. This is purely based off our own experience, because we found it made a huge difference to the family gut health overall. And that magpie is back again.
Why we? What was wrong?
And I'll let Karen fill you in on more of the details there as well, because she's the true GAPS expert in the house. I was simply one of the chefs.
Simply?
Simply.
That's not simply.
I'm downplaying myself. I'm being humble. I'm trying it on for size.
You're only
Doesn't
humble
fit
on
well.
the internet. You're not humble when you're not live.
No, absolutely. Why be humble when you're as great as I am? Oh yeah, no, forget I said that.
I know you didn't mean it. Don't feed it. Don't feed the bird.
Yeah, I shouldn't feed the bird.
Alright, I'm gonna show the... Are you almost done? Because I think we can put the meat in now. So the fire is slowing down because I haven't been feeding it. I was too busy talking. But
Karen,
yeah.
what else are we having with this? I'll go get the
Noodles. We're just having it with noodles. So our food will be served very soon. Very, very easy. I will put it in the comments, the recipe, so you can cook it yourself at home. Given that we can't go out and eat anyway, it's not like you can eat your pho during this time. I suppose you can do takeaway, but I don't know how many Vietnamese restaurants are open right now.
Alright, I'll be back in a second, Karen, okay?
Yeah, so it's boiling beautifully. Okay, be quick, yeah? I need ladles and stuff. We don't have any.
Now, are we going to eat inside or outside?
Outside. I need ladles, babe. So it looks like the kids is being cheeky inside. I'm not sure what happened. I'm gonna shut the door because I don't want to get the smoke inside the house. Oh, it's shut. So this is a really fun activity to do with your kids at home. Yeah, it's not particularly dangerous because the fire is not really out in the open. It's all contained in there, and all they need to do is to feed the sticks. And I find it really fun and therapeutic to sit here and just keep feeding the fire. And it makes cooking so much more fun. What happened?
Pinks. Everywhere.
Later.
I'm going to have to deal with it now.
No, can you get the food over?
I
Like
have
in
to
the
deal with
middle?
this right now all over the floor.
No, the ladle. It looks like our kids have put paint all over our rug. So I'll go and deal with it later, but I just thought I'll finish showing you this. Now I'm gonna go and grab some ladles. I'm gonna leave you here for a minute so you can watch my fire for me. I'm just gonna feed it through a bit right now, and I'm gonna put bigger sticks in for now because given I'm gonna be stepping away for a few minutes, I can't keep feeding the little twigs, so I'm gonna put a big one in just to keep the fire going. maybe 2 big ones in. And I'll be back outside. It won't be long. Hi guys, sorry. Takes a while. So I've just gone inside and pick up the veggies I've had that I harvested from the garden yesterday. So I thought I'd just throw some veggies in, and then I'm gonna check the meeting, and then we're ready, and I'll let you go. Our kids have made a mess in the house and the paint is all over the floor, so we do need to deal with it. I am gonna put the veggies in there. So there's spring onion, there's lovage. This is a little bit old, but it should be okay. It's just a little bit dry. That's the daikon leaf. And this is my society garlic flowers, and I've got lovage here, so I just want to add it in there. And I'll show you what it looks like inside. So I'm just waiting for this to boil, and once it boils, I'm gonna check the meat in, and I'm gonna turn off the fire, remove it. So check the meat in to make sure it goes to the boil, to make sure the meat gets cooked, and then I'm gonna turn off, remove it from the fire after that, because I don't want to cook my meat for too long. And obviously I haven't added salt as well, which I need to do. So I'm gonna put you back on the table so you can see the stove cooking. And for those who's just jumped on, I'm not sure if you're the same person you were on earlier. We're just cooking on our rocket stove. As you can see, we built this with just bricks, and all you need to get the fire going is some twigs and some fire starter. And for fire starter we use the pine needles because the fire starts very easily, and then you just keep feeding the twigs for the fire to keep going. And the fire gets going very, very quickly. You don't have to wait. And so as soon as the fire gets going, which only takes 2 minutes, we can start the cooking going. And the fire is so, when you first started it, there was huge fire happening and it heats up really, really fast. So it doesn't take any longer to cook outside than inside. So I am cooking a Vietnamese noodle soup today. I don't have my noodle with me, noodles inside, but it's already cooked. Basically we boil up some broth and added spices and added some veggies, which I just put in there earlier. And then we've chopped up this beef steak. We chop them into slices, and I'm just gonna chop them in and remove it from the fire very quickly as soon as it starts boiling, because I don't want to cook it for too long because it will harden the meat. So make sure when you cut beef into slices, you cut them across the grain. So David's done a great job slicing them into, cutting the steak into slices, and he's cutting them across the grain, so that will make them nice and tender. So a lot of people talk to me, was very overwhelmed about eating a GAPS diet or a paleo diet, because I find that diet very restrictive and makes it very difficult to find what to cook. But we've been there looking on this journey for 2 years now, and we have managed to find lots and lots of amazing recipes. And then, you know, you don't have to eat boring food if you're on the GAPS diet, and you can have this beautiful, healing, nutrient-dense food. And yeah, and it tastes super delicious. Just gonna put it in now, and I think I'm gonna have to remove it from the fire immediately. Just waiting for it to. Where's the cover? So I'm just waiting for it. I'm just bringing it to the boil, just to make sure the meat is cooked through. But as soon as it gets boiling, I'm going to remove it from the heat, because I don't want this meat to turn tough. Or maybe I can even remove it now. I'll bring the camera over to show you. So it's not quite, you can still see it's a little bit bloody. So just wait a minute or two. I'm going to start feeding smaller twigs in there, because that means it burns faster, and we can get the fire out much quicker by little smaller twigs than the big branches. I'm chucking the little ones there. Because right now I'm not trying to do a slow and long burn. I am just bringing the fire up. So, oh, this one I forgot to chuck it in earlier, so I'm going to put it in. Veggies. I think it's boiling very soon. I'm just going to keep feeding the smaller twigs. So this is how you control the fire. And if you want slow and low burn, you put bigger branches in there. If you want a quick, very hot or very strong burn, put little twigs in there, lots of them. But they will burn very quickly, so you have to keep feeding them. And I'm not feeding enough, I don't think. So I'm just keep picking up the stuff anything I can get from the ground. Yeah, the fire's just gone up, can you see? It's just finally catching. So I think it should be good enough now. I don't want to put it there for too long, but it looks like it's been a bit slower for the fire to get going. So unfortunately, David, my husband, has to step away because our children has made a huge mess in the house, and it is, you don't want to see it. My whole floor is full of the whole floor we have in the house is just full of paint right now, and it's not a nice scene. Alright, it's a little bit slow to boil, but I think we're good. I think this is probably good enough. I'm worried that if I leave it in there for too long, it will start getting really tough, the meat. Yeah, I'm gonna remove it from the heat now, I think, because the beef, you can eat beef kind of rare anyway, so it doesn't really matter if it's not fully cooked. I'm gonna remove it from the heat, and I'll probably just show you what it looks like. So there you go. This is our spiced beef noodle soup. It has beef slices in there, and I'm gonna add some lemon and salt, and we're gonna have it with noodle, and it will taste delicious. The spices we use is coriander seeds, clove bud, star anise, cinnamon, and black peppercorns. We grind them up and we boil them, and there you go. This is our meal, and we boil them with bone broth. All right, I am gonna finish up now because we need to go inside and eat. And what I would do, if you are interested to learn how to build a rocket stove, this one, I'll turn it around so you can see. If you're interested to learn how to build that thing, I'm gonna jump on live later today. I'll grab some bricks and I will show you live of how to build them. You don't need any equipment. All you need is 24 bricks. I have more than 24 here because I built the base first. Because when I built this, we didn't have these stones here just yet, the pebbles here just yet, the crushed rocks. So it was straight onto the ground, and I just want to make sure, I want to lift it off the ground a little bit. So if you want to build a base, you might need more bricks, but it doesn't really matter. Otherwise, you need 24 of these bricks, and you can be recycled bricks or anything. But it needs to be like this size, not square ones. So if you have 24 of those, you can build yourself one of these, and you can cook yourself an easy meal here using just some twigs. So now that I'm removed this heat, now I'm gonna just take it out. I don't want to waste this because I might use it for later on. So I'm just gonna leave it here, making sure you stay away from anything that's gonna light, like keep it. Given that like my garden here is all crushed rocks, I'm not too bothered. It's not like it's gonna burn on crushed rocks anyway. I just wouldn't leave it onto where my mulch is. So this is where the mulch is previously, before we have the crushed rocks. That's why I wanted to make sure it doesn't, it can be dangerous if you burn it on top of the mulch because it can set it on fire. So we had a base of all these bricks here, but you don't really need it if you have rocks first. So I want to show you what it looks like on the inside. So it's still burning a little bit. Yep, so this is what a rocket stove looks like. So there is an opening here, and there is another opening on the other side. This is where it draws oxygen, and then you put the twigs on this side, which is one level up, and then it burns really efficiently. My rocket stove is not as efficient because it's got a lot of gaps, because the bricks I'm using are not completely like straight. It's a little bit old and it's not in the right shape. It's in the right shape, but it's not, you know what I mean, it's not, you know, not completely square. So that's why there's a lot of gaps. So it could have burned more efficiently, but as you can see, in the last half an hour I've managed to cook myself a meal very easily, and it was very, very fun. Yeah, so that's it. So if you are stuck at home and you want to do some fun activities with your kids, let me turn the camera around. If you're stuck at home, you want to do some fun activities with the kids, I would recommend building yourself a rocket stove. Go to Bunnings. If you don't have bricks, go to Bunnings, grab some bricks, and then spend the afternoon outside and cook a meal with your kids there. Yeah, that's all. Alright, I'm gonna jump off. Thank you for watching, and if you have any questions, let me know. And if you want to have the recipe, I will put it on the comments here below, so you can cook yourself a beautiful Vietnamese noodle soup. It's called pho. Usually it's very, very popular dish in the Vietnamese restaurant. Alright, I'm gonna go now. Thank you for watching, and we will speak soon. I will be back online live later today to build this stove. I just need to go eat now and gather some bricks for later. Thank you. Bye.